Gentlemen, we are live, and finally, the Eddie Guerrero themed Sharpshoot. We're ready to go for another episode of the Sharpshoot with Aussie. I am your host, Aussie. Welcome to the show. If this is your first show, well, damn it, what the hell have you been waiting on? Kind of curious to know why you would have waited this long to check out an episode of the Sharpshoot, but regardless, you're here. We're happy for that, and we are live. And you know what? I've been thinking about this for the past couple of weeks here, and I've decided that from now on, we are going to go live every single week. And the reason I've decided on that is because it's just a lot better of an experience for pretty much all of us. The reason I say that is because you guys can get on the show here. You guys can comment. We can go back and forth here and there. I've already got people jumping in on YouTube. Woo! I share the same sentiment, but really, this is what it's all about. I like interacting with you guys, and I find it's much easier if we do a live show. So from now on, we're going to do this live every Thursday. We're going to shoot for 7 p.m. Eastern. Today, we had a little bit of a technical difficulty with the graphic. YouTube didn't want to, didn't want to cooperate with us, and now we're here. But at any time in this show, this graphic might just disappear because that's what's been happening for whatever reason, kind of pissing me off because the graphic I think is pretty sweet. Either way, we're here and we're ready to go. We're talking about Eddie Guerrero. Of course, today marks the 9th anniversary of Eddie Guerrero's tragic passing. And really, to be honest with you, there is not a live event or any wrestling event that goes by that somebody doesn't sit here and say, Eddie would have done this, Eddie would have done that. This would be better if Eddie was here. And a lot of people wonder what the WWE product would be like today if Eddie Guerrero was, in fact, still here. And I think it'd be better than it is now. That's for damn sure. But a little bit of a surprise for you guys. We've got a couple of rope breakers here to join us today to talk Eddie Guerrero on this special occasion, Eddie Guerrero's the 9th anniversary of Eddie Guerrero's tragic passing. We are now going to welcome in Alec Kozubski of RopeBreakWrestling.com. Alec, how you doing, pal?
I'm doing great. I'm so happy to finally be on the Sharpshoot. It's going to be a great show. I'm looking forward to it.
All right, man. We're glad to have you. And, of course, before the bell's very own Matt Donato. Matt, how you doing, pal?
First of all, Alex, you know your role and you shut your mouth. I'm doing damn good on the Sharpshoot, one of the best shows on YouTube behind Before the Bell, of course.
And, of course, if you don't know what I'm talking about when I say Matt Donato of Before the Bell, I'm talking about Matt Donato, that jabroni there with the laggy video, has an excellent podcast that goes on every Friday, and that one you don't necessarily have to tune into. That one you have the benefit of, like Matt likes to point out, you can vacuum while you listen. You can pop the headphones in and just listen to what Matt has to say, and you don't really need to be focusing in like you do on this show because we got, such a great-looking guy like myself hosting the show. Not necessarily the case with Matt, but our other live show that happens is every Monday night, immediately following Raw. My man Alec hosts Raw React or React after Raw, and it's live every single Monday night immediately after Raw, right here on Rope Break Wrestling's YouTube page. And right now, I'm still wondering why you haven't hit the goddamn subscribe button. It's really not that difficult. Is it? Is it that difficult, guys?
No, not at all. Not at all.
And before we get into the Eddie Guerrero talk, I just want to say I got a little bit of a special giveaway because, that's what we do here, Rope Break Wrestling. If we are able to surpass 15 viewers at one point in time today on this show right now, I'm going to give away, now don't get too excited, remember, I've said this multiple times, we're balling on a budget here, boys. We are a startup company, and to be perfectly honest with you, I don't know how I'm going to get the rent money for December. But with that being said, I'm still going to give away one of my personal collection. Um, you guys know about, of course, the giveaway where if we reached 3,000 likes on Facebook by Survivor Series, we're giving away a copy of WWE 2K15 for the console of your choice. But today, get really excited, guys. I got something much better than that. I've got a copy of SmackDown Shut Your Mouth for PS2. And if we hit 15 views or more at the same time, so 15 viewers all at once or more, I'm going to give that shit to somebody that's watching. And that's the bottom line, because Aussie said so. And,
Vintage Aussie.
Vintage Aussie. And without further ado, let's get right into what this show is based around, and you can see it on the graphic. Use the hashtag VIVA LA RAZA. Use the hashtag Rest in Peace Eddie Guerrero. We're going to talk Eddie Guerrero, and I want to start with Matt. Matt Donato, a well-known in many wrestling circles, many IWC circles, well-known for being a diehard Eddie Guerrero mark. Before we get into the meat and potatoes here, Matt, I want to just know, what does Eddie Guerrero mean to you?
Eddie Guerrero represents the little guys. I think that's, for me, what's really drawn me to him is, I'm not a big guy. I see this guy who's pretty much the same height as me going in there and being able to become so popular and so beloved by the fans. So he represents the underdogs who nobody thought could ever make it, who was a vanilla midget, according to some other towns who I don't think are that great. I'm not going to name names. Kevin Nash. But
you just tore his quad.
I did, and I don't give a shit. But he was a guy that nobody ever thought was going to make it because of his stature, because of his heritage. Nobody ever thought he was going to make it, and he became one of the biggest stars in wrestling history. So to me, that's what he represents. He represents the little guys. He represents the underdogs.
Yeah, no doubt. And being a little guy myself, and when I say that, I mean we really, all three of us, could pass as, in wrestling terms, little guys. None of us are, really. I mean, I do have 24-inch pythons, but other than that, I don't think I think we would all be considered vanilla midgets, if you will. Absolutely ridiculous term. That obviously a guy like Eddie Guerrero, guys like Chris Benoit, not afraid to say his name here. WWE might strike me down in the middle of this podcast, but It is what it is. Guys like that, Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart, just really, to be honest with you, we have this vanilla midget, call it what you will, but if we're really talking about technical wrestling, and Matt, I know you're a big technical wrestling guy, it's the vanilla midgets that end up being the best technical wrestlers. Dean Malenko, Daniel Bryan, Sami Zayn, these guys that aren't these big, bad, bulky guys. Yeah, they end up being legitimate guys. And Alec, as far as Eddie Guerrero goes, where does he stand with you as far as all-time wrestling talents?
Wow. All-time wrestling talents. He's definitely top 10. With Eddie Guerrero, there was a dedication and a passion that you didn't see with a lot of other guys of the time, and even today. This was a guy who went out there and put on a match. He put on a show. He told a story within the ring, outside of the ring, even on the mic. This was a guy who fought for what he wanted, fought for what he believed in. So to me, Eddie Guerrero is a top 10 talent of all time. Whether people want to dispute that or give reasons beyond, I don't really care. Eddie Guerrero is the best of the best at wrestling, technical, promo, storytelling. He's got it all, and it was such a tragedy that we lost him so many years ago.
No doubt. And you sit here and you think, We hear every year around his birthday, around the anniversary of his passing, we hear, what would WWE be today with Eddie Guerrero had he not tragically passed away? And it's kind of a fantasy booking question that a lot of people really like to get into. There's certain guys that people, wish they could have seen Eddie match up with. And Matt, who's the first guy that comes to your mind, a talent today, that you would have loved to had the opportunity to see go toe-to-toe with Latino Heat?
That's a tough question. There are definitely a lot of guys right now on the current roster that would. I think the one name I think that comes to mind with me, as far as technical wrestling goes, because obviously, like you said, I mean, he's going to technical wrestling, would be Daniel Bryan. He would definitely be a guy that would be interested to see what they could do. Man, I think the I think even there are certain guys. I think even like a Sami Zayn down in NXT, I think they could put on one hell of a match. Just the athleticism between the two of them. It's a tough question because there really isn't, in my opinion, and this is a biased opinion. In my opinion, there isn't really anybody that Eddie couldn't make look, couldn't make look good in the ring. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, that's not really a biased opinion, to be honest with you. It's just a blatant fact. Eddie Guerrero was one of those unique guys that, given enough time with anybody in the ring, could really make anybody look good. I'm a firm believer of that. I don't think there's any disputing that. You might say it's an opinion, but I would say that's a fact, and I'd like to challenge anybody to dispute that fact. Eddie Guerrero could have a good match with anybody in the. Eddie Guerrero could have a good match with me in the ring if he was given enough time. Now, he might need an hour and a half. I don't know. He might need quite a bit of time. But
the full WrestleMania
that's the
show.
thing is. The thing is Eddie Guerrero didn't just wrestle. He's known. He'll always be remembered for being one of the best technical wrestlers of all time. And in his early days, that's exactly what he was. His ECW and his WCW days, you see him, you think of the technical wrestler Eddie Guerrero. But if you flash forward to his WWE days, there's really no denying that the guy was an excellent entertainer all around, great character. And I think that's something that gets overshadowed by his amazing ability in the ring, is that, hey, at the end of his career, this guy was a legitimate entertainer, somebody that everybody wanted to see. I think once he broke out of that Radicals group, when he first joined WWF, you really started to see him flourish as an entertainer. With the Latino Heat with China, it seemed like everything that he did was interesting, and we can't really say that about a lot of the mid card guys these days, because that's what Eddie was at that point, was a mid card guy. But he was a very interesting mid card guy. I mean, Alec, is there anybody right now, and I know I'm putting you guys on the spot basically every single question I'm asking you here. Right now, if we're talking about a total package guy, a guy that not only has the ability in the ring, but has the ability to entertain as well, do you even see anybody out there on the main roster? I mean, a name that comes to my mind is Dolph Ziggler, as far as being able to be that entertaining and be very good in the ring. I feel like it's not often we see both of those things come together. It's either one or the other. Is there anybody that comes to your mind?
Well, Dolph is a good choice, but given the right circumstances, I would put Randy Orton in that category. Randy Orton, is a third-generation wrestler, really knows his stuff, and when given the right platform, in the right opportunity, knows how to entertain, knows how to work the crowd, knows how to play up on people's emotions. So I would have to say Randy Orton.
That's an interesting choice, and I definitely don't even disagree with that. It's just not the first person that you think would come to mind, but it definitely makes a lot of sense. And I don't know if it's just me, but are you guys having mic issues? Are you having issues hearing my mic? Because when you guys are talking, I'm hearing like fizz in the mics. Are you guys hearing that with each other on the mic, or is it
No,
just my headphones?
your audio is fine.
Yeah. Yep. I'm not hearing that either.
You're not having any issue with Alex audio, Matt?
Nope.
All right, good. Then I'll just ignore it as long as everything's going good. I just don't want our viewers to be missing out on what you guys have to say. If you're just tuning in right now, we are talking about Eddie Guerrero, Latino Heat, and we are talking about basically how the guy is, like Alex said, one of the top 10 guys probably of all time. We're not even that could be said whether you're talking about just technical wrestling or if you're talking about total package, top superstars of all time. I think Eddie Guerrero certainly makes the case to fit somewhere there in the top 10. We talked about Eddie Guerrero, potential suitors for him if he were still alive today. Matt said Sami Zayn, along with Daniel Bryan, who I think Daniel Bryan is the obvious answer. A lot of people would say that those two would be really good in the ring together. But I like you bringing up Sami Zayn. I think that makes a lot of sense. I'm interested to know if you guys out there have anybody you'd like to see. And it looks like we've got Just Delta submitting the name Cesaro on YouTube here. And what do you guys think about a potential Eddie Guerrero versus Cesaro matchup? Now, obviously Cesaro not as much of a versatile guy as Eddie Guerrero, but still a great technical wrestler. How do you guys think that matchup would go, Matt?
Actually, I think that would be an awesome match. I think that like we were saying before, Eddie has the potential to really fit the mold of any match. So you could put him up against an athletic guy like a Dolph Ziggler, and it could be incredible. And then you could put him up against a guy like Cesaro, who's much more agile, much slower in the ring, much more methodical in his movements. And I think Eddie Guerrero would be able to keep up with both paces. He'd be able to slow himself down, but still keep himself entertaining. So I think this matchup would be really, really well done. I think Eddie would really do a hell of a job at making this entertaining. I actually would love to see this match. I wish, damn it, Eddie. Why, Eddie, why?
Yeah, and I'm kind of like hearing a muffled version of what you're saying, but from what I can make out, I'm definitely in agreement with what I'm hearing. Apparently, Just Delta saying that there are some problems with the stream every now and then. So I mean, you guys are lucky. Apparently, you can hear me fine. Matt and Alec, but I can't really understand what the hell you guys are saying. You sound like a bunch of like Martians from Toy Story.
Well, that's
Anyway, I can kind of make out what you're saying, and I agree. Cesaro, Eddie Guerrero, damn it, would have loved to see that matchup. And Sato, Jabroni says on YouTube, how about HBK? Now, that's intriguing. Did we ever see an HBK versus Eddie Guerrero match? Was that something that happened?
I don't think so. I know personally I've actually looked for that match on YouTube because I wasn't sure if that and I've never been able to find anything. I don't think they were around necessarily. I think when Eddie came in, I think that's when HBK was kind of leaving. And I think when he came, I don't think they missed each other, but I don't think they were a part of. I know DX was still big, but I think Eddie was just coming in. I don't ever remember seeing. I don't know. I don't ever remember seeing HBK versus Eddie, and I've never found anything, so I don't think so.
Well, according to the World Wide Web, there is no Eddie versus HBK match ever to happen. It was supposed to happen at WrestleMania 22, but that never happened.
That's a goddamn shame if I've ever seen one there. And you're making reference, Matt, to they did kind of miss each other on several ways. But there was that time when HBK came back in 2002 where Eddie Guerrero was still there and was thriving. Obviously, Shawn was a part of the now basically forgotten triple threat match at WrestleMania 20 where we had Benoit, Triple H, and HBK, and then you had Angle. Was it Angle and Eddie? Yeah, in the WWE title match there.
Yeah.
M. Sato says, HBK said he and Guerrero would one day wrestle at the gates of heaven. That might have been something that was said on a Raw following Eddie's death, something like that. But wow, I didn't really think about it. That is a match that's probably got to be one of the top fantasy Eddie Guerrero matches, bar none.
Absolutely.
And, well, while we love talking about Eddie Guerrero, there is a little bit more show to go here. And at this time, I'm going to actually, we're going to let Alec go just for a second here, and we're going to keep Matt on the show to discuss our next topic. And, Matt, if you can see it here in the graphic, we want to talk about whether or not Luke Harper will become the Intercontinental Champion. And I know you're high on Luke Harper, and I know you're high on the Intercontinental Championship. I want to know what you think about that possible pairing.
Well, I think it could be a great thing. I think that it could definitely be awesome for both the title and him if his character doesn't reflect what we saw at the ending of Raw. If he doesn't come out like Teddy Long with the playa and all that shit. I hope that was just a mistake. If he comes out like that, then I don't want to see him or that title. I don't want to see him near that title at all. But if it's the Luke Harper that we've been built on, the one that they've been building, they need to make him his own character first. They need to break him away from the Wyatts. And I said this before with Eric Rowan. They're not doing that because he still wears the sheep mask. He's still wearing the Buzzards one-piece jumpsuit. There's no separation between the two. So I hope that they work on that with Luke Harper, because it would be a shame if there was no build like they're doing with Roman Reigns, where there's no build on him outside of the Shield. So I think if they build him strong enough and they build him outside of the Wyatts and they really break him apart from that storyline, he has a lot of potential to really become a great Intercontinental Champion. And a lot of people have really billed him as a lot like Bruiser Brody. And I've said it before, I'm a huge fan of Bruiser Brody, one of my all-time favorites. And I really, really think that, they are very similar. They do have a lot in common. And I think it could be great. I think it could be a big move for both the IC title and him. If it's all about booking, though, like I said, it's all about booking. If booked properly, this could definitely be a huge move for both. And it would add somebody, because right now there's not too many people within that mid-card, within the mid-carders that really have potential. So they really need to keep building on that. They have Ziggler. They had The Miz there for a while and Miz out. I don't know if they'll come back or what they're doing with them, but they're not really in that picture anymore. Cesaro is screwed. I don't know what the hell they're doing with him. He's not in there anymore. So really all you have is Ziggler and, obviously Barrett coming back. But, right now they're not really building too many people for that. So they really need to start adding legitimate guys. And I know probably a lot of people would disagree and say that he's going to be a world champion because he's big. But I hate when people say that, because just because he's big doesn't make him ready for the world title. And there's nothing wrong with the IC championship. There's nothing wrong with being an Intercontinental champion.
Yeah, I see your point there, and now that I have my headphones off, I can hear you clearly. It appears to be a headphone issue. Now, this is a topic that I really, really, really made a point to cover on the show for multiple reasons. Number one reason being, and I'm going to take heat for this, I just do not think now is the time for a Luke Harper IC title reign. And the reason being is I just don't know the character enough. I think that in order to hold gold, especially an IC title or a World or WWE Championship, we've got to have character development. And I know you can argue we've had the vignettes and we had the ending to Raw this past week where he threw Ziggler, and to really to really nitpick there, I messaged you guys after the show and said I wasn't really a fan of that one line that Harper cut to end Raw where he said, "I'm loyal." Just it didn't sound right. It didn't come out right. It didn't. I don't know. And again, that's me nitpicking. But as far as the Intercontinental Championship goes, that is reserved for a certain type of superstar in my eyes. I don't know if that's just because of the way that I've grown up on certain Intercontinental Champions, like The Rock, like Stone Cold, like Shawn Michaels, like Razor Ramon, like Bret Hart, like Mr. Perfect. These are guys that are high character guys. And I think that you look at a guy like Harper, and he reminds me of like a demonic character. I know I'm not trying to draw really a comparison to The Undertaker and Kane and Bray Wyatt and Mankind, but that's the type of character that he has been on TV thus far. In my opinion, you don't have a guy hold gold that doesn't necessarily need gold. A guy like Luke Harper doesn't necessarily need gold at this point to be an important character on the show. I think he can do a lot of damage and be a very important character without holding a title. As to where you've got these cocky guys like Ziggler, Jericho, those type of people, they have the gold to enhance their character, so to speak. I don't know. It just doesn't feel right to me, and maybe that's just me, stuck in my ways, or like I said, thinking about the Intercontinental Championships that I've lived off of growing up. It just doesn't make sense to me for a guy that hasn't even said more than 10 different words more than 3 times. I mean, he's had a couple good promos. No doubt he can talk on the mic, but they need to utilize that if he's going to actually be the Intercontinental Champion. They can't just have him, I'm loyal. I'm loyal. I want to be champion. It doesn't make sense to me as far as that aspect. I mean, what do you think about that?
No, I agree with you. That's kind of what I was saying. I do think that it wouldn't be bad for him to be the IC champion. That's just my opinion. But I do agree with you that it's not right for him to do it right now. And like you said, it's because we don't know who he is. And that's why I drew the comparison to someone like a Roman Reigns, where we have no character development whatsoever. And if he gets the championship right now, I think it's going to be game over for Roman Reigns. I think it's going to be a huge blow to him because it's really going to, when you hold a title, it puts a spotlight on you and really exposes all of your flaws. So you got to make sure you got the big ones covered up, because then people are going to see it through it. People are going to get bored with you. They're not going to care about you. This guy sucks. And then nobody's going to want to see you anymore, and that could really, really damage your career. And I was saying with Eric Rowan, still having the jumpsuit with the Buzzards logo on it and still wearing the sheep mask like he's still part of the Wyatts doesn't make any sense to me. If you're trying to make this guy a solo, you need to really split him from the group. If Hulk Hogan, when he went solo again, was still wearing NWO attire, it wouldn't have worked out. If Triple H when he left DX and went solo again, was wearing DX attire, still coming out to the DX theme song, it wouldn't have worked. People would not be able to associate him as the Game, the Cerebral Assassin. They would have been like, oh, it's Triple H, the funny guy from DX. It wouldn't have worked. So you can't do that with any other. It just doesn't work.
I totally agree. And now you can see our fucking graphic popped off the screen.
Give him his own character.
Whatever reason, fucking that word answer has fallen off the screen. I'm going to be working. You make a great correlation when you say if Triple H left DX and was still came out with the glow sticks and, the DX theme song, it doesn't make sense. That is exactly what we're talking about when we're talking about guys like Roman Reigns, Luke Harper, Eric Rowan, that just aren't getting their own character. It just doesn't make sense. You don't see Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose still coming out to the Shield theme song, or like I say, a Kids Bop version of the Shield theme song. You don't see them coming out in their Shield attire. There's no reason why, if Luke Harper is getting a sort of a repackage here, there's no reason why he couldn't, wash his fucking wife beater or something. There has to be something different. There has to be, you know what I mean? The reason why there needs to be something different is because what is telling me that this guy is any better or any different than he was before he left? We have the differences in the new Bray Wyatt repackage. We have no more the whole world in his hands. We have, the beginning, instead of going, damn, it does something completely different, which I dug. I think it's cool. I dig it. And Bray Wyatt seems to be evolving. So now we can say, okay, he was good before, but now he's really going to make some. He's really going to cut some damage out here. You know what I mean? With Luke Harper, it's like, oh, same dude, same sweaty wife beater, still only knows 5 words unless they give him a microphone for a promo. Then suddenly he knows, he's a fucking, intelligent man. It just doesn't make sense. There has to be some consistency there, and I don't think that right now. I think they need to work on building that. What I'm saying is, I'm not saying he doesn't need the IC title. I'm not saying he doesn't deserve it. I'm not saying he shouldn't get it. I'm saying right now is not the time. And like you said, you agreed with that. I think they need to develop this character a little bit more before they go ahead and give him any type of strap. But Matt, thank you, man, for coming on the show this week and discussing this topic with us. Really appreciate it. And for those of you that aren't aware, Matt will be back this Friday to discuss all the hottest WWE news and rumors on his podcast, Before the Bell. You don't even need to watch it. You can listen in. We're working on getting that guy onto iTunes for you guys, doing some sort of way where you can download that, have that on your phone, on your iPod, on your whatever, on your grandmother's CD player, whatever it is the hell that you've got. We want you to be able to tune in. So tune in this Friday for another edition of Before the Bell with Matt Donato. Matt, thanks again for joining us, buddy.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. Awesome show. You're going to kick some ass. One of the best shows on YouTube, obviously behind Before the Bell, like I said.
All right, man. Have a good one.
You too.
And with that now, we still don't have our fucking screen back up. And that's bullshit. If you guys think that's bullshit, give me a hell yeah. I said give me a hell yeah. But in all honesty, we have much more to shoot on here on this Sharpshoot. Once again, this is the Sharpshoot with Aussie, in case you forgot, since the graphic is no longer up. We've got much more to talk about. And you guys can join in the discussion at any time in the show. Let us know what you want to talk about. I'm going to be here for a little while tonight, guys, and I want to talk about what you guys are talking about. We got Nick the Cena fan jumping in on the chat board right now as Hawkeye1734, so please throw him some shade. Don't forget that he once attacked me with a cookie sheet prior to the SummerSlam pre-show. Nick the Cena fan, it's good to have you, man. It's good to have you. And you fans can interact with him on the chat board. Now, on to more business. We've got much more to talk about on this show here. And I'm pretty excited for what we're about to bring to you right now. I'm going to re-welcome my good friend Alec Kozubski. He's going to rejoin the show here. And Alec, it's time to talk about Ryback and his push. His big push that he's getting right now. The topic said in our graphic, feed him less, question mark. That might give you a little bit of a preview as to what I'm going to say. But before I say what I'm going to say, I'm interested to know your take on the Ryback push that's going on right now. What do you think, man?
I think it's great. I think for a guy like Ryback who came in and he got this strong push when he started, and then kind of stutter-stepped after that feud with Cena and then that feud with CM Punk. After that, he just kind of got thrown in the doghouse, really got stuck with Curtis Axel on the team Ryback, so wasn't really doing much there except just being stuck in this tag team where he was really the life of it, because, to be honest, Curtis Axel's a dull character. He's good in the ring, but he's just not a good character. But for Ryback, I think this is a time where he can come in and start fresh and really get a decent push, whether that means he goes after the U.S. Championship IC championship, or even down the road get the World Heavyweight Championship. Who knows? But I think where he's at right now is it's a good time for him to have a fresh start on kind of a career that wasn't good beforehand. He kind of suffered really from the fans who just gave him shit every single time he was in the ring. Now it's just a good opportunity, and what they're doing with him now is good because on Monday he was kind of the center of the storyline, and now we kind of see where Ryback stands. And I like that he's kind of in this rogue agent status where he's not really picking a side. He's just doing what's best for Ryback. So I'm interested to see where it goes, but I'm happy with what they're doing with him right now.
And I agree in the sense that I'm really happy for a renewed Ryback push. I think Ryback is a top-level talent. I think he is capable of being a top draw. It's clear to see because the fans the past couple of weeks really getting into a babyface style push for him. And I'm pretty excited for it. The reason why I say feed him less is because I think Ryback is a little turned up. And I don't say turned up in a 2 Chainz sense like turned up. I say turned up in the sense that too much into overdrive, so to speak. I think that his character is a little bit too, ooh, 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 like a gorilla. I kind of was saying the same thing with Matt here that, about Luke Harper. It's kind of like, no 5 words, that's it. Feed me more. Feed me more. I think Ryback is capable of much more than that, and I think they can even further his character, make him even a bigger babyface if they were to just give the guy the mic and let him say what he wants to say. We really see him as just a feed me more. Feed me more. He's a wrecking machine. He's a Goldberg-style guy. You want to ditch that Goldberg stigma? Why don't you give the guy the mic and let him actually speak?
Right.
I'm not trying to nitpick and complain here. I'm just trying to say, I love Ryback. I would like to see even more out of the guy. And I think the way they can avoid having him fall on his face again, which the reason that he fell on his face before was terrible booking.
Yep.
But with a character like that, you can only go so far before fans just get sick and tired of it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. It's like you said before, it was just terrible booking. He got thrown in with Paul Heyman, and that storyline just got so fucked up. You didn't really know what was going on after a certain point. So now, if they book him properly, it can work. If they give him the mic, it can work because he is a charismatic person. We kind of saw it Monday night, with the backstage segments where he, kind of told everybody off. And the thing that I liked was in that main event, when Kane goes to give him the choke slam, he starts pulling away. He really started acting with his face and telling a story with his face, laughing at him and shaking his head and then pulling the hand away. I think if he does more things like that, it will help him in the long run.
Yeah, no doubt. I think, if they just give him a little bit more character development, let us know a little bit more about Ryback. Because right now I think him being, in it for himself is going to do him, really good things. I think people really like a guy. I'm not going to draw this comparison. I guess you think about guys in the past that have been in it for nobody but themselves. You think of guys like who? The Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin, top guys. John Cena, guys that have been in it to win it. They're not here for team this, team that. They're not here to kiss anybody's ass, shake anybody's hands. Now, behind the scenes, that might be a little bit different, especially with a guy like John Cena. But what I'm really talking about is this guy is a monster. He doesn't need the help of Cena. He doesn't need the authority. He's going to do his own thing. And I think that taking that part of his character and applying it with what he can do, which he can speak on the mic. We've seen it before. And, Alec, we talked about it off-air backstage promo that he cut following his return to WWE. He was interviewed by Renee Young. He almost broke down, and he showed a different side of his character than what we've seen in the past. He showed somebody that was, humbled.
Absolutely. I think that was
And
one of the probably his best promo that he's really ever done.
yeah, it's like I say, I'm eager to see more of that side of Ryback rather than what we are constantly stuck with, which is just one-dimensional guy. And while I'm on this, I don't know if anybody here had the opportunity to check out the article that I wrote about the SmackDown spoilers from a couple weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, last week. Was it last week? Yeah, last week.
Yep.
We actually were fortunate enough to go, Nick the Cena fan and myself, and we actually had a chance to meet Rye's show, and it was awesome. The guy was a great guy. He was talking normal, you know what I mean? He wasn't, screaming. And that's really what got me thinking in this mode, like, dude, you can talk. Why don't you do that? He was really humbled. I'll tell you what, we're sitting there in the garage, and we're seeing all these different superstars walking by. We see Sami Zayn. We see Adrian. We see, everybody. Dolph Ziggler. They all wave, say hi. We see Dean Ambrose, the top babyface in the company right now. He waves. Actually, he does one of these hang loose, and, he's on his merry way. Ryback comes now. Ryback turns around, says thank you, genuinely gives a genuine thank you, gets in his car and pulls around, parks his car, gets out and signs autographs and takes pictures with every single one of the fans that was lined up in the garage there. Every single one of them. Did not miss a single one. That is what a babyface does.
Absolutely.
That is how you gain lifelong fans. Nick the Cena fan might as well be Nick the Ryback fan next week. Because when I tell you, this kid's eyes lit up like a Christmas tree when Ryback came over, took a picture with him. I shook the guy's hand. His hand swallowed my hand whole. I still haven't got my hand back. This guy was massive. His forehead was the size of my entire head. But that's not the point. The point is, Ryback knows what he's doing. He's got a love for the fans, appreciation for the business, and he is humbled by how the fans have reacted to his return. And I think that going forward, if they don't drop the ball with this guy, he can draw big money for them. They need to push him properly, and I won't settle for anything less. Matter of fact, I'll be extremely angry with anything less.
I agree.
I appreciate you coming on the show, talking Eddie Ryback with us. We will have you on again soon. And for those of you that might have just joined the show, check out React After Raw every single Monday night, immediately following Raw. His YouTube page. It happens every single week. Alec is the host with the most, and let me tell you, he doesn't hold any punches. This guy it was a shitty show. He will let you know it was a shitty show. We're not in the business of sugarcoating or putting icing on anything here, and Alec is a perfect example of that. React After Raw every Monday night. Rope Break Wrestling's YouTube page. Alec, thanks again for coming on the show, brother.
Thanks for having me on, brother. I always appreciate it, and I appreciate the Rope Breakers giving us the support. I'll see you guys on Monday.
All right, and that's going to bring us to our final topic. And let me tell you right now, I am extremely pissed. For those of you that have just joined the show, for those of you on YouTube that have been here for the entire show, please tell in the chat what you thought about the Eddie Guerrero themed sharpshoot graphic, because I cannot express my displeasure with YouTube enough, or Google Hangouts enough right now, that the graphic just disappears after 10 minutes. It doesn't make any sense to me. It happens every time we go live here. The graphic just wants to up and leave the show for some reason, and it doesn't make any sense to me. I don't get it. We're still in the process of trying to get that graphic back up here, but it doesn't look like it's going to work. Doesn't look like YouTube gives a shit. Probably WWE striking us down with the iron fist. But we do have one more topic to talk about, to shoot about on this week's edition of the Sharpshoot. and that, of course, is booking bad news. That's what I was going to talk about. If you saw it, you saw the little section that we had on the graphic. Booking bad news. YouTube be slipping, Westland Coleman. You are correct. YouTube damn sure be slipping, and the great one's not happy with it. That's all I'm going to say. But as far as booking bad news, what I meant by that is we're going to talk about Bad News Barrett's return and the way I think they should go about it. And at this time, I'm going to let you guys know this is the final topic of the show. If you want me to cover anything else on tonight's show, feel free to comment here on YouTube or tweet me at Rope Break Wrestling or at I Am Aussie, and we'll cover your topic as well. I'm here to talk with you guys. If you guys want to talk about something, go ahead and show it, and we'll talk about it, comment it, and we'll shoot on it. But right now we're talking about Bad News Barrett and his eventual return to the active roster. Now, I am hoping, and what I've heard over the past couple of weeks, I'm not sure if this is still range true or not, but we're really hoping to see a Bad News Barrett return at Survivor Series. Spoiler alert, for those of you that didn't know that, it's been talked about that we may get a Bad News Barrett return at Survivor Series. Now, I'm interested to know what you guys think. How should they book that? How should they book him returning? Heel, face, repackage, different song, different attire, different name? No, I don't think anything like that. I think they stick with the song, they stick with the name, they stick with the gear. I think that he should come back as a face. I think he was a very hot face when he first came, when he first started the Bad News Barrett gimmick. It was meant to be a heel gimmick. Didn't really work out for them that way. People enjoyed it so much that they ended up sticking with it. But that's besides the fact. The point is, I think Bad News Barrett needs to come said, and I would love to see him interfere in the match to screw the Authority. Now, I'm not really sure exactly what the Survivor Series rules are, if that's kind of like a no DQ manner, the team being disqualified or whatnot. But I think Bad News Barrett coming back, screwing Team Authority, and then the next Monday night on Raw, you've got, if you actually thought that Team Authority was going to stay in power, I'm afraid I've got some bad news. That would be badass. Would it not? That would be badass. There's really no getting around that. But really, I'm interested to know what you guys have to say about that. And this was really going to be a topic that I wanted to hear from you guys on, as far as, how do you think Bad News, when he comes back, what should, will they drop the ball with him? Does he need to get an IC title? Does he need to get the US title? Does he need to feud with somebody specific? I'm not about that he needs to feud with anybody in particular. But, I'm trying to sit here and think about a specific guy that Bad News Barrett could feud with. Then at the same time, I think I could get interested in a feud with anybody with Bad News Barrett. I'd particularly like a feud with a guy like John Cena, but that would really make him technically a heel. WC face and kids, and have Cena, who's basically like a heel with the IWC, but a face with the kids, vice versa. I think those two could go at it. Cesaro, and Bad News Barrett, they look like they mesh well together. Really, I'm just excited to see Bad News Barrett come back soon, and I kind of wanted to remind you guys, hey, we might be getting that at Survivor Series, so keep an eye out. We might also be getting a CM Punk return. No, I'm kidding. Seriously, though, at this point, that's pretty much, the extent of the show. But obviously, like I said, I'm going to open it up to you guys. If you have any topics that you think we should talk about on this episode of The Sharpshoot, then please speak now or forever hold your peace. But while we talk about that, let me remind you that we are less than 20 likes away from that WWE 2K15 giveaway. If we reach them 3,000 likes on Facebook, we are giving away a copy of WWE 2K15 to a lucky Facebook liker, and they will get to pick which console they get it for. And right now, it doesn't look like we eclipsed the 15 mark, so we will not be giving away a copy of SmackDown Shut Your Mouth. I'll keep that for myself. But seriously, next week I'm going to put it up for grabs again. So tell your friends about the show. Let them know it's the Sharpshoot with Aussie. It's every single Thursday. I think we're going to try and stick with a live show. And going forward, I'd like to be able to improve the show here. If anybody has any knowledge of Google Hangouts, of doing Hangouts on air, of doing live shows on YouTube, let me know. I'm looking for a producer for the show that can help with graphics, not to design them, but to have them up on the screen and to do, certain things with the show. Somebody that would be available every Thursday evening. That would be great. If you know anybody, if not, I'll do it myself again, and we won't get the Eddie Guerrero graphic again. If you just tuned in and you don't know what I'm talking about when I say the Eddie Guerrero graphic, make sure you go back earlier in the show, watch what we talked about earlier in the show with Eddie Guerrero, and check out the graphic, the special me graphic that we had there. The thing that sucks is that I worked like an hour and a half on that, and then suddenly it doesn't work after 10 minutes. Really pisses me off. Nick the Cena fan is just dying for us to talk about Kofi Kingston. I guess I can kind of compromise on that by saying that Kofi Kingston, Nick the Cena fan, since you probably don't really know this because you're a Cena fan, Kofi Kingston is set to come back in a three-piece stable, if you will, with Xavier Woods and Big E Langston. We've seen the Xavier Woods Vignette for A New Day, and we also saw Kofi Kingston. He had his Vignette on A New Day on this past Monday Night Raw. I'm expecting to see the Big E Langston one coming up this Monday night. I would expect to see Kofi Kingston return with his new stable, A New Day, or whatever the hell they call themselves, not this Monday, sorry, the Monday immediately following Survivor Series. So the Monday after Survivor Series, so November 24th, Thanksgiving week, the Monday Night Raw. I would say that we're probably going to get Kofi Kingston, Big E Langston, and Xavier Woods back. The question is, who the hell do they go up against? What do they want? What does this team mean? Do we have Xavier Woods as a manager? Do we have Kofi and Big E as a tag team? Do we have three singles guys? Do we have two singles guys and the manager? What exactly is going to come from these guys? I'm interested to know if anybody's got any information on that or seen a house show. Usually these guys are probably working house shows leading up to the pay-per-view. That's what they did with Bray Wyatt. That's what they did with Brad Maddox. That's what they do with a lot of guys. We saw the Ascension work the dark match of SmackDown. That's how you know they're coming up soon. I'm interested to know if anybody's got any dirt or news about the new Xavier Woods, Kofi Kingston, Big E Langston stable that's supposed to be coming up, New Day, whatever it is that they're going to call themselves. I'm interested to know exactly what they're going to be doing. But with that being said, that's pretty much all we've got for this week's edition of the Sharpshoot. Now, next Tuesday, we've got WWE 2K15 coming out, and I'm going to let you guys in on a special little secret. I will be playing WWE 2K15 live with you guys, the fans, on PlayStation 4. If you have a PlayStation 4, add me. It's Aussie316. That's my gamer tag. AU capital SSY 316. You can add me. I will accept you. Let me know who you are when you try and add me so I can give you credit or follow you on Twitter or do whatever it is that I have to do, give you a shout out on the show. I also play Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. You can play that with me as well and get smoked. Either way, this has been the Sharpshoot with Aussie. I appreciate you guys tuning in this week. Hopefully next week we'll have the graphics fixed, and we'll be back with another live show. So if you dig the show, Tell your friends. We're trying to get up to 15 plus viewers at a time. That way we can give away shit. We will give away shit if we can do that. But until then, we will not give away a goddamn thing. So tell your friends and do what you got to do. Until then, I'm your host, Aussie. This has been another edition of The Sharpshoot, and it's only on ropebreakwrestling.com. Thanks again for tuning in, guys. We'll see you next week.